Niana and Karen, you both are the co-owners and founders of Camellas Kitchen. First of all, I just want to say thank you so much for agreeing to speak with me. I'm really excited. I've already started experimenting in the kitchen with some of your products, and they are, they're just like, especially the green herb seasoning blend. It's so fresh and so bright, and I think a really great addition to people's pantries. So thank you for speaking with me, and let's just hop right in. Could you tell me a little bit about how Camellas Kitchen came to be? When did you have the idea? When did you decide to go into business together? Was this always a project that involved the two of you, or how did it evolve?
Yeah, well, thank you for having us. I would say, as far as the idea for starting, we actually got started back in 2018. And this was after, I would say, years and years of us kind of cooking and just really, seeing, the reaction that, a lot of friends and family had to our cooking. I think it's something that's always been kind of percolating on our minds. But in 2018, after again years and years of having people react to our food and be like, oh, it looks so good, oh, it tastes so good, oh, it's so fresh. Really, we kind of sat down and talked and, decided to kind of pilot things and, see if there actually would be interest and demand. So in
Mm-hmm.
2018, we actually piloted, some of our products with family and friends, and they were really receptive to it. So after, that was around the holiday time. So after that happened, we decided to formally start a business in 2019. So we've been around for about a year and a half now. And just as further background on this, we're Caribbean, and I would say that cooking is in our blood. And so, and so my mom, she's really, I would say, the master chef. And she learned how to cook from her mom, who we actually named our business after, Camella. And
Okay.
really, my mom could give me more background on, what it was like to work with her mom. But her mom also had it wasn't a formal business, but she also sold goods in Trinidad at local markets. And my mom can actually give you a little bit more information about what it was like to work with her.
Yeah, I'd love to hear more. I mean, I think it's so fascinating how food really brings people together, but so often, our relationship to food is directly tied to our relationship with our past and our histories and our family. So it seems like to me that this really is like it's a multi-generational family business, right? From Camella, who would be your grandmother, all the way down to you. This is what you have done, right? So I'd love to hear more if you don't mind sharing, Karen.
Yes, so it all started with my mom, Miss Camella. She used to make baked goods and other sweets selling to the stores and market in her hometown. So whenever she makes those things, she will go from store to store during the week and on weekdays in the market. And many people will compliment her about her baked goods and sweets. So I used to help my mom prepare those things. So I learned a lot from my mom. And today here I am baking the same things that she used to do.
Well, so you are still the master chef, but Niana, did you learn everything that you know in the kitchen from your mom?
I would have to say yes, that is the case. I'm not as good as my mom, but yeah, I would say I have watched her and observed her in the kitchen, and just how she combines spices and the way how she cooks. I'm not much of a baker, but I certainly like to cook products and just dishes, cook dishes and serve them up. And I kind of incorporate like what, she's taught me to even try new things when I'm cooking. And so oftentimes, like my mom, she cooks without a lot of different measurements. And, sometimes I'm able to do that. But yeah, I would have to say I'm, working my way up to where I don't have to cook without measurements, but I've definitely learned a lot from my mom.
So, could you talk to me a little bit more about some of the challenges that you've had, or just your general experiences as women of color who are running a small business?
Yeah, I would say for us as women of color, we're predominantly new business. So I feel like a lot of, what we are experiencing are like small business challenges. But I would say for now, marketing has been a bit of a challenge and um, really we've tried different avenues here and there, but just because there is like a lack of visibility, and I think also because um, Trinidadian food isn't, at the forefront of like what people think of when they think Caribbean food.
Mhm.
Sometimes the reaction is, oh, like what is that? So sometimes it's like a good thing where people are like excited to try it, but sometimes it's because it's unfamiliar. I think people are like, oh, what is that? Like they might hold off a little bit on what we do. So for example, when we've gone to different events, I think last year when we could go to events, what really stood out to people was when they were able to actually try some of our products. They actually were able to see or at least experience what we had. And I think that really got people to just try what we've been doing. Um, I think another thing is, for us as a family, um, I think it's more so this isn't like a full-time business for us. So
Mhm.
uh, I would say kind of like our side hustle in a way. And because right now we are bootstrapping our business, which means that we are self-funding. And so we, I think in general, as Black women, the lack of access to capital is something that is, an overall trend. We've made the conscious decision to bootstrap just because we kind of want to see um, how viable this business is before taking on a lot of just outside credit first for our business. So I would say those really are the key challenges. And I think that right now, with coronavirus as well, that has proven to be a challenge for us. Um,
Absolutely. And so, how in particular are you kind of shifting your approach because of coronavirus?
yeah, so I would say that um, for us, while our business, right from the very beginning, we've had an online store.
Hmm.
Um, for us, because we are so new, a primary way that we actually promoted our business and gained visibility in our community was through in-person events. And so a lot of our sales actually came from a lot of the festivals and markets and pop-up shops that we attended because people really liked having an in-person experience with us. And, sometimes people kind of hesitate to purchase from an online store that they don't really
Hmm.
know about. So I, found that having that in-person component was very helpful, especially last year starting out.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because of coronavirus, we've had to shift our operations entirely online. And, this is something that, we've, wanted to do, shift more and more of our operations online. But coronavirus has forced us to really accelerate the pace, because right now we can only do operations online. So for now, we've really been trying different ways to engage with our audience
Mm-hmm.
that we have. So we have an email newsletter that, we send out to our subscribers. And in that, we've always, done a monthly newsletter and included good content. But this year, one thing that we started to do, again, kind of thinking ahead and realizing that we've, even before coronavirus, kind of realizing that we've, wanted to sell more online, we started developing very easy recipes that people can do at home that, that incorporate our products so that people actually have ideas. Because one of the things we've noticed in the past when we vended at different events is people always ask, like, how can I use this product and how can I use that? And so, developing recipes became our answer to, show people how they can actually use our products at home, especially because some of them might be a bit unfamiliar with what we sell. And in addition to developing the recipes, we, again, we post that on our blog and through our newsletter, but recognizing that not everyone is, likes to read, we also developed videos and posted on YouTube so that people can actually watch us make our recipes as well. And so I would say that shift to posting recipes has been key. And also, I would say our Instagram content, we have started posting a bit more and posting consistently, and just promoting ourselves more on social media and just making ourselves really accessible to people.
Yeah, as someone who's a huge social media user and strategist, I'll say that that's really key, showing up consistently. And I love the recipe idea, and any way that you can get recipes to your customers is, I think, key, because even myself, I'm a very adventurous eater and I'm really adventurous in the kitchen, but I'm not super familiar with some of your products. And so I loved being able to look and see suggestions for, oh, how should I use this or how should I use that, just as a starting point. And I think that it makes it more accessible to people, and it makes them more willing to try it, which is kind of all you need, right? If you have a great product, all you need is for someone to try it once.
Yes, agreed. So that's really the idea behind the recipes and really what we've been doing.
Well, you guys are definitely on the right track, and I want to shift gears a little bit away from coronavirus. And I know that you partner with some local farms to source your ingredients, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And could you talk to us a little bit about those partnerships, but also about why you chose to source that way, and why that's important for your business?
Yeah, absolutely. So for us, it's really important to just partner with local farmers, just because not only are we supporting our local community, but it's just more sustainable to get food closer from the source. For example, personally, for me, I've been participating in a community-supported agriculture program for the past 3 years.
Yeah,
And
I love CSAs.
Yes, what I've noticed is that, the food tends to be a lot fresher than what you'd get at the grocery store. And for us, quality is very important. We actually, handcraft our products and produce them in small batches. And so we do that because we want to ensure high quality. And in order to ensure that quality, we want to get high quality ingredients. So within the past year, we've started establishing partnerships. So for the Island Herb Blend that we did most recently, we actually partnered with the Harmony Farm in Washington, D.C. to source a lot of their herbs and a lot of their herbs so that we can use in our products. And in addition to that, we actually have a partnership in the works with New Brooklyn Farms that's located in Mount Rainier, Maryland, which is in Prince George's County. And so we'll actually be launching a limited edition item late in the summer. But we're really excited to be working with them and just, seeing how we can support our local community. I think it's just really important to do that, especially because the farms that we've worked with, these are two farms owned by people of color. And I think it's just super important to support the local community.
Absolutely. And I mean, I also, we at home try to shop intentionally. That's how we put it. Just thinking about, well, this might be a little bit more expensive, but where did it come from? And as someone who I develop recipes and I love to cook, I can tell the difference between, stuff that's like really, really fresh, which is usually local. It was picked in season, which means, it has a much stronger flavor than if I get my produce and it's often shipped in from all over the country, sometimes all over the world. And you do get a remarkable difference in flavor, just in the outcome. And it is important in addition to being more sustainable. So I 100% agree with kind of your business model. And I think that it's really important moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
Could you tell us the name of your CSA, just for anyone who's in the area who might be interested?
Yeah, so I actually get the CSA from the Part Harmony Farm, and
Okay.
they're located in Washington, D.C. And I did actually post a recent blog where I used some of the vegetables that I actually got from my most recent CSA share on our website as well.
Okay, perfect. And I'll make sure to include, information for where to find your products, the blog, and information about the CSA in the post as well, because I think it's important. And I always hear suggestions for where to find this or that, and then you want to go look for it for yourself. So thank you very much. And let's get to what I think is the most important question, maybe questions. So could you talk to us a little bit about what the most common dishes or ingredients are in Caribbean cuisine? But then you also mentioned that Trinidadian food is a little bit different. So could you talk to us about that? Because I think a lot of people aren't super familiar with either. And like you said, might wonder then how to use your products, but also just about the cuisine in general.
Yeah, so I'm actually just going to start off a little bit and then turn it over to my mom so she can,
Perfect.
she
The
can
expert.
talk about it a little
expert.
bit more. But I would say Trinidadian cuisine is, heavily influenced by a lot of different cultures. So we have so many different influences. We have the African influence, East Indian, Chinese, and some Amerindian and European influence as well, just given the history of slavery and indentured labor and colonization that happened in the Caribbean. So I would say it kind of is mixed up, and it's not a melting pot per se. I've never been a fan of the term melting pot because to me it kind of seems like if you're assimilating to a certain standard. But I would say it's more so like a callaloo, which is a Caribbean dish. It's actually the national dish of Trinidad. But it's more so like that, where you have so many different ingredients and influences, and it all comes together and just melds in such a way that works really well. So I think it's a very diverse and a very vibrant cuisine. Now, my mom, she can talk to you a little bit more about different dishes and just ingredients that we use in general. So I'll turn it over to her.
Yeah, maybe Karen, could you start with just the three most common dishes that you would find in Trinidad?
Okay, so we have many dishes in Trinidad, but three of the main dishes that we have, like we have what we call chicken pilau, which is made with chicken. You stew the chicken, when I mean stew, we brown the chicken and we add like pigeon peas and
Mm.
rice, like a one pot dish with different spices. Again, the green seasoning comes into play with that dish. So we can add green seasoning, we can add fresh herbs to that dish. Also, we have like Naina has mentioned, we have a dish called callaloo, which we use like a sort of spinach leaves to that with fresh coconut milk.
Mm.
And again, we use fresh herbs, we use vegetables, we use okras into that, and coconut milk and hot pepper. So another thing what you will find in houses in Trinidad and Tobago and most of the Caribbean islands, they use a lot of hot pepper and green seasoning to their dishes
Mm-hmm.
when they are cooking. So we have many dishes over there. So we have something called crab and dumpling, curry crab and dumpling, where they curry crabs and then we make dumplings out of flour with coconut milk.
That sounds fabulous.
Yeah, that sounds very fabulous. And it's very tasty too. Yeah, so we do a lot of different dishes, but the main ingredients we use for those dishes are green seasoning, fresh herbs that we use into making those dishes.
Mm. And it seems like quite a bit of coconut milk.
Yes, actually use fresh coconut milk where we get the coconut from the nut and we grate it. Sometimes some people use something we have like a grater, but now people tend to use more blender. They cut the
Mm-hmm.
the coconut into very small pieces and put it in the blender and blend it to get the milk.
Mm.
Mhm.
Yeah, we're definitely our coconut milk from a can does not compare.
It's
I've
different.
had
It's not
fresh
the same.
coconut milk. It's not the same.
Yeah.
It is absolutely not the same. I actually when I first got the sauces, the mango pepper sauce.
Mm-hmm.
I know Caribbean food is spicy and I like spicy food.
Yes.
But I decided I was like, I'm gonna taste it, and I wasn't paying attention. I just like poured myself a very large spoonful
Oh my.
and I ate it. And I stood there in the kitchen just crying a little bit, just like, oh,
I know.
I'm awake now. But there's so much flavor in just that
Yes.
little spoonful. And I really, I think that that's one of my favorite things that I've experienced about Caribbean food in general is that you get these kind of, I won't call it a melting pot, but these layers of flavors
Mm-hmm.
that at times remind me of, Indian food or even Pakistani dishes I've had. Or other times I'm like, this seems like it has a lot of Chinese influence, and you get this like really cosmopolitan layer of flavors, just with always, the best Caribbean food I've had has really, really fresh ingredients, right?
Absolutely.
And that's what makes it, I think, so unique and so tasty. And I'm hungry now, so.
Oh my goodness.
And then one final question. I'm going to make sure that people know how to use the ingredients, where to look for recipes, but sometimes you don't want to cook. So there are quite a few Caribbean restaurants in the DMV area. Do you all have a favorite, a place that you usually go to, or does it depend on what you're in the mood for? I know you can make food at home, but for those of us who are seeking your expertise, where would you send us?
Uh, that one is a sort of tricky one because we do most of our cooking. So
Of course.
usually we just recently we have tried one restaurants in the area here called Kona Grills,
Mm-hmm.
and
And
the
I know
food
they
was
have multiple locations.
yes,
And how was the food?
the food was pretty okay.
Honestly, for a a second generation master cook to say it was pretty okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's all right.
Yeah, I would I guess to add on to that, I'll give you two places. One is I would say more so affordable and one is a little bit more on the expensive side.
Mm-hmm.
Um so unfortunately I don't know if they are open, but Kingston Arbor in by the PD Plaza, or I guess you now say mall at Prince George's, actually has pretty good food. We really love their rice and peas. The coconut, you can actually just get a really great flavor from that. Uh,
Okay.
so I would say that is my recommendation as like a nice go-to. And another place that I've also tried, and it's a great dining out option as well, is Kane. And it's located
Yes.
on 8th Street. And I like their take on Trinidadian street food. It's really great. You get, in addition to the street food concept, they also have nice curries as well. So I would recommend that. It's great, and I love the flavor of their food.
Awesome. I know that Kane is open for takeout, so I'll make sure to include that. They are close to our new apartment, so we have ordered from them a few times. It's it's a classic. So, well, thank you so much, both of you, for your time. I'm